You probably think of avocados as a superfood, a symbol of health and vitality. But what if I told you the avocado sitting in your kitchen could quietly be contributing to the formation of cancer cells? And it all comes down to the way it was ripened, not on a sunny tree, but in a dark warehouse thousands of miles away. Avocados sold in most supermarkets across Europe and the United States don't grow anywhere nearby. Most are imported from Mexico, Peru, Chile, Spain, Peru, or Israel. To survive that long journey, they're picked unripe, still hard, still green, and far from their peak nutritional quality. Then, they're stored in refrigerated containers to slow down natural ripening. Once they arrive at warehouses, they're exposed to ethylene gas, a plant hormone that forces them to ripen quickly. Yes, this makes them soft and ready for sale, but it's not the same as ripening under the sun, on the tree. In these conditions, inside the fruit cells, oxidative stress begins, and the fats, those famous healthy avocado fat, start to change. Imagine this. You pick up a perfect buttery avocado, but inside, a silent process has already begun. One that scientists link to DNA damage. One that increases the risk of cancer. And you would never know by looking at it. Avocados are rich in monounsaturated fats, especially oleic acid. And they also contain polyunsaturated fats like linoleic and alpha-linolenic acid. Fresh, these fats are heart-healthy, anti-inflammatory, protective. But during weeks of storage and artificial ripening, they begin to oxidize. First, lipid peroxides form, unstable molecules that quickly break down into aldehydes and ketones. Malondialdehyde, 4-hydroxynonenal. These compounds bind to your DNA, to your proteins, damaging them, triggering chronic inflammation, and over time, increasing the risk of cancer. Avocados are called green gold. But what if that gold hides a toxin? A toxin that slowly undermines your cells. Day after day, lipid peroxidation destabilizes cell membranes. It weakens their structure and leaves them vulnerable to more damage. Malondialdehyde is a carcinogenic byproduct. It can cause mutations by directly interacting with your DNA. 4-hydroxynonenal targets mitochondria, crippling your cell's ability to produce energy and switching on dangerous pathways linked to tumor growth. For older adults, the body's antioxidant defenses are weaker. Less superoxide dismutase, less catalase, less glutathione peroxidase, which means you have less protection against these toxic compounds. And studies show that long-term consumption of oxidized fats is linked to a higher risk of heart disease, Alzheimer's, and cancer. Here's the secret. The industry doesn't talk about avocados shipped from far away, ripened in warehouses, can contain compounds that damage your blood vessels, speed up aging, and may trigger tumor growth. So, how can you tell? Look for brown or gray streaks in the flesh, a bitter or rancid taste, soft spots, or watery texture, even if the skin looks fine. If a cut avocado turns brown unusually fast, it may have high peroxide content. You think dangerous food is fast food? And sweets? Sometimes, it's the healthiest thing on your plate. Here's how to protect yourself. Buy firm avocados and let them ripen naturally at room temperature. Avoid overripe fruit with bruises or bad smell. Don't store ripe avocados more than 1 or 2 days. Once cut, use lemon or lime juice to slow oxidation. Pair avocado with antioxidant-rich foods, berries, leafy greens, green tea, nuts. An avocado can be your ally or your enemy. It all depends on where and how it ripened. Now, you have the power to choose wisely. A product can be a superfood on paper, but in real life, its impact on your health depends on the journey, from farm to table. For older adults, avoiding oxidized fats is especially important. Avocados ripen naturally on the tree, are good for you. But those that have traveled for weeks, sat in storage, and ripened in artificial conditions may bring along toxic byproducts of fat oxidation. Bottom line, choose fresh, choose local, choose naturally ripened. Health is not only about what you eat, but the condition in which that food reaches you. I'm Dr. Emily Carter. Stay informed, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. The journey of the modern supermarket avocado often begins thousands of miles away in the sun-drenched groves of Mexico or Peru. Here they are harvested not when ripe, but when mature enough to withstand a long, arduous journey. They are picked hard, their potential for creamy perfection locked deep inside. From the moment they are severed from the life-giving branch, the clock starts ticking. But the goal of industrial agriculture isn't to work with that clock, but to stop it entirely. Then, they're stored in refrigerated containers. These are not just cold boxes. They are precisely engineered environments, mobile hibernation chambers designed for one purpose, to slow down natural ripening. The temperature is dropped to a steady 4 to 5 degrees Celsius, a chilly state of suspended animation. At this temperature, the fruit's metabolism grinds to a near halt. Its respiration rate, the very process of breathing that fuels ripening, slows dramatically. The enzymes that would normally soften the flesh and develop complex flavors are put on ice. For weeks, sometimes even months, as they cross oceans and continents. These avocados exist in a state of artificial preservation. It's a marvel of logistics, ensuring a year-round supply, but this convenience comes at a biological cost, setting the stage for a rude awakening. Once they arrive at vast distribution warehouses, often just days before they're due on store shelves, the second act of this industrial drama begins. The avocados are moved from the cold into specialized, airtight rooms. Here, they're exposed to ethylene gas, a plant hormone, that forces them to ripen quickly. Now, ethylene is the same hormone the avocado would produce on its own. But the difference is one of scale and subtlety. On the tree, the fruit would release ethylene gradually, in a slow, elegant dance with its own development. The industrial process, however, is a brutal, overwhelming shock. A concentrated blast of ethylene gas floods the chamber, essentially screaming at the fruit's cells to ripen, and to do it now. This sudden hormonal command triggers a frantic cascade of biochemical reactions. The cells scramble to convert starches to sugars and break down the pectins in their cell walls to create that desirable softness. The entire delicate process of maturation, which should take a week or more in nature, is compressed into a mere 24 to 48 hours. It's a race against the clock, driven not by the fruit's internal wisdom, but by the demands of a commercial schedule. Yes, this makes them soft and ready for sale. From the outside, the result seems miraculous. The skin darkens to a perfect purplish black. The flesh yields to a gentle squeeze. They are uniform, predictable, and perfectly timed for the supermarket display. They fulfill the promise of a ripe avocado ready for your toast or guacamole. But it's not the same as ripening under the sun, on the tree. A tree-ripened fruit is a complete system. It remains connected to its parent, drawing a complex array of nutrients and phytochemicals right up until the moment of peak ripeness. Its development is holistic and balanced. The industrial avocado, by contrast, is an isolated organism, abruptly woken from a cryogenic slumber and chemically shocked into a semblance of ripeness. The process is fundamentally imbalanced. Often, the exterior ripens far more quickly than the interior, which is why it's so common to cut open a beautiful-looking avocado only to find a hard core, or, conversely, brown, stringy flesh near the skin. The illusion of perfection is just that, an illusion. In these conditions, inside the fruit cells, a silent, damaging process begins. Oxidative stress. Think of it as cellular rust. The shock of the rapid temperature change and the forced high-speed metabolism creates a massive imbalance. The cell's energy factories, the mitochondria, go into overdrive, churning out an excess of volatile molecules called free radicals. In a healthy, naturally ripening fruit, a robust system of antioxidants would neutralize these. But in this stressed-out, industrially ripened avocado, the antioxidant defenses are overwhelmed. Free radicals run rampant, attacking and damaging vital cellular components. And the fats, those famous healthy avocado fats, start to change. Avocados are prized for their high content of monounsaturated fats, particularly oleic acid. But these healthy fatty acids are incredibly vulnerable to the free radical assault. A process called lipid peroxidation takes hold. The free radicals steal electrons from the lipids in the cell membranes, setting off a destructive chain reaction. The healthy, beneficial fats begin to degrade, turning rancid on a microscopic level. They are transformed from life-sustaining nutrients into potentially harmful compounds like lipid hydroperoxides. This not only diminishes the nutritional value you're seeking, but can also contribute to the off flavors and mushy textures that betray a poorly ripened fruit. Imagine this. You pick up a perfect buttery avocado. It feels just right in your hand. You're thinking of the creamy texture, the rich flavor, the healthy fats you're about to enjoy. You're making a choice for your health. But inside, a silent process has already begun. One that scientists link to DNA damage. The byproducts of that lipid peroxidation, compounds with names like malondialdehyde, are not just inert waste. They are highly reactive and genotoxic, meaning they have the ability to attack and damage our very DNA. When we consume these fats that have undergone this microscopic degradation, we are introducing these damaging compounds into our bodies. This isn't just a theoretical concern. A growing body of research highlights the dangers of consuming oxidized fats. One, that increases the risk of cancer. When genotoxic compounds damage our DNA, they can cause mutations in critical genes that regulate cell growth. If our body's repair mechanisms can't keep up, these mutations can accumulate over time, contributing to the uncontrolled cell division that defines cancer. It's not that a single avocado will cause this. Rather, it becomes another contributor to the total oxidative load on our bodies, another drop in a bucket already being filled by processed foods and environmental pollutants. It's a hidden risk, woven into a food we consider unequivocally healthy. And you would never know by looking at it. There is no label, no warning sign. The avocado looks and feels perfectly fine. The damage is invisible, occurring at a molecular level. This is the quiet compromise of our globalized food system. In the quest for year-round availability and cosmetic perfection, we may be sacrificing the very nutritional integrity that draws us to these foods in the first place. The story of the avocado is a powerful reminder that the journey of our food matters, and that the most significant qualities of what we eat are often the ones we cannot see. Avocados are rich in monounsaturated fats, especially oleic acid, and they also contain polyunsaturated fats like linoleic and alpha-linolenic acid. Fresh, these fats are heart-healthy, anti-inflammatory, protective. But during weeks of storage and artificial ripening, they begin to oxidize. First, lipid peroxides form, unstable molecules that quickly break down into aldehydes and ketones, malondialdehyde, 4-hydroxynonenal. These compounds bind to your DNA, to your proteins, damaging them, triggering chronic inflammation, and over time, increasing the risk of cancer. Avocados are called green gold. But what if that gold hides a toxin that slowly undermines your cells, day after day? Lipid peroxidation destabilizes cell membranes. It weakens their structure and leaves them vulnerable to more damage. Malondialdehyde is a carcinogenic byproduct. It can cause mutations by directly interacting with your DNA. 4-hydroxynonenal targets mitochondria, crippling your cell's ability to produce energy, and switching on dangerous pathways linked to tumor growth. For older adults, the body's antioxidant defenses are weaker, less superoxide dismutase, less catalase, less glutathione peroxidase, which means you have less protection against these toxic compounds. And studies show that long-term consumption of oxidized fats is linked to a higher risk of heart disease, Alzheimer's, and cancer. Here's the secret. The industry doesn't talk about avocados shipped from far away, ripened in warehouses, can contain compounds that damage your blood vessels, speed up aging, and may trigger tumor growth. The avocado, a creamy, nutrient-dense superfood that has captured the hearts and kitchens of millions. But this beloved fruit holds a secret. Beneath its bumpy, unassuming skin, a battle is being waged at a microscopic level, a battle between freshness and decay. So when you're standing in your kitchen, ready to make that perfect guacamole or slice it onto your toast, how can you be certain it's not just ripe, but truly healthy? How can you tell if the treasure inside has turned treacherous? The signs are there if you know what to look for. It's a skill every avocado lover must learn, because the difference between a good avocado and a bad one isn't just about taste, it's about your health. Your first clue is visual, and it's often the most jarring. You cut open a seemingly perfect avocado, only to find it riddled with brown or gray streaks. These aren't just harmless blemishes. This is a condition called vascular browning. You're looking at the avocado's circulatory system, the tiny tubes that transport water and nutrients, which has begun to decay. This can happen for several reasons. The fruit might be old and simply overripe. It could have suffered from chilling injury by being stored at temperatures that are too cold. Or it could be fighting off a fungal infection. While small, isolated brown spots from bruising might be acceptable, extensive streaking is a clear warning sign that the fruit is past its prime and its cellular structure is breaking down. Beyond streaks, pay close attention to the texture. An avocado should be creamy, not mushy. If you find excessively soft spots, or if the flesh has a watery, almost separated consistency, this is another red flag. This mushiness is the result of enzymes, like pectinase and cellulose, running rampant. These enzymes are dissolving the pectin that acts as the cellular glue holding the fruit's structure together. As the cell walls collapse, they release their water content, creating that unappetizing, watery texture. This isn't just a matter of poor mouthfeel, it's a definitive sign of advanced decomposition. And sometimes the most dangerous sign of all is one you can't see, but can certainly taste or smell. A bitter, chemical-like or rancid taste is an absolute deal-breaker. This isn't just off flavor, it's the taste of science gone wrong. That rancid taste is your palate detecting the end products of lipid oxidation. Avocado fats are wonderfully healthy, but they are polyunsaturated, which makes them vulnerable to attack by oxygen. When this happens, they form compounds called lipid peroxides. These peroxides are highly unstable and quickly break down into secondary products, like aldehydes and ketones. These are the molecules that create those sharp, paint-like or bitter flavors. From a health perspective, this is deeply concerning. You are, in essence, consuming rancid oil. There's a simple kitchen experiment that can hint at this hidden danger. If you cut an avocado and it turns brown with unusual speed, we're talking a deep, dark brown in just a few minutes, it may have a high peroxide content already brewing within its flesh. This rapid browning is caused by an enzyme called polyphenol oxidase, and its activity is often accelerated in a compromised, unhealthy fruit. Consuming these peroxides and their byproducts introduces a flood of free radicals into your body. These are rogue molecules that cause oxidative stress, damaging your cells, your DNA, and your proteins. It's a subtle, chronic assault that has been linked to inflammation and a host of long-term health issues. When you think of dangerous food, your mind probably jumps to greasy burgers, sugary sodas, and processed snacks. The culprits are obvious. But the wellness revolution has introduced a new paradox. Sometimes, the most insidious risks are hiding in plain sight, cloaked in a health halo. The danger isn't always an acute sickness from bacteria, but a slow, cumulative damage from food that is turned. And the avocado, the poster child for healthy fats, can become a primary source of this hidden threat if we're not vigilant. The very thing you're eating to reduce inflammation could, if rancid, be doing the exact opposite. So, how do you arm yourself in this battle for freshness? It all begins at the point of purchase. You must become a discerning avocado selector. The first rule: protect the fruit. Don't poke and prod with your fingertips. This bruises the delicate flesh underneath, creating brown spots for you or the next person. Instead, cradle the avocado in the palm of your hand and apply gentle, even pressure. A ripe avocado will yield slightly, but it shouldn't feel soft or mushy. If it's rock hard, it needs several days to ripen. If it feels soft, it's likely overripe. You're looking for that sweet spot, firm, with a subtle give. For an extra layer of intel, use the stem trick. Try to flick off the little brown cap at the top. If it comes off easily and you see a vibrant, healthy green underneath, you've likely got a winner. That green is a sneak peek of the flesh inside. If you see brown or black underneath the cap, the fruit is almost certainly overripe and likely has brown streaks inside. If the cap refuses to budge, the avocado is far from ripe and will need more time. Also, visually inspect the skin. Avoid any fruit with large sunken spots, cracks, or signs of mold, as these are entry points for bacteria and decay. Once you get them home, the clock is ticking. Your best strategy is to buy firm avocados and act as the final stage of the ripening process yourself. Let them ripen naturally at room temperature, ideally out of direct sunlight. This allows the fruit's own ethylene gas to ripen it evenly and gently. If you're in a hurry, you can place an avocado in a paper bag with a banana or an apple. These fruits release a lot of ethylene gas, and the bag traps it, significantly speeding up the process. Once an avocado reaches that perfect stage of ripeness, you can hit the pause button. Don't just leave it on the counter. Placing a ripe avocado in the refrigerator will dramatically slow down enzymatic activity and ethylene production, buying you an extra 2 to 3 days of perfect freshness. But don't store them for much longer, as chilling injury can still occur. The moment you cut it, you've exposed its vulnerable flesh to its greatest enemy, oxygen. Now, your goal is preservation. The classic method is to use an acid. Drizzling lemon or lime juice over the cut surface works because their ascorbic acid, vitamin C, is a powerful antioxidant. It essentially sacrifices itself, oxidizing before the avocado's fats and enzymes do. Another effective method is creating a physical barrier. You can brush the surface with a thin layer of olive oil or press plastic wrap directly onto the flesh, ensuring there are no air pockets. Some people even store a cut avocado with a sliced onion. The sulfur compounds released by the onion have been shown to inhibit the oxidation process. Finally, the most powerful way to protect yourself is from the inside out, by thinking about the entire meal. You can build a biological defense system on your plate. Pair your avocado with other foods that are rich in antioxidants. Think of it as assembling a team of bodyguards to fight off any potential oxidative stress. Berries are packed with anthocyanins. Leafy greens like spinach and kale provide lutein and beta-carotene. Nuts and seeds offer vitamin E, and even green tea provides catechins. These compounds work in synergy, creating a powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effect that supports your body's ability to neutralize free radicals, whether they come from a slightly less than perfect avocado or from the environment around you. By being a smart shopper, a careful preserver, and a strategic eater, you ensure that every time you enjoy an avocado, you're getting all of its incredible benefits and none of its hidden risks. An avocado can be your ally or your enemy. It all depends on where and how it ripened. Now you have the power to choose wisely. A product can be a superfood on paper, but in real life, its impact on your health depends on the journey from farm to table. For older adults, avoiding oxidized fats is especially important. Avocados ripened naturally on the tree are good for you, but those that have traveled for weeks, sat in storage, and ripened in artificial conditions may bring along toxic byproducts of fat oxidation. Bottom line, choose fresh, choose local, choose naturally ripened. Health is not only about what you eat, but the condition in which that food reaches you. I'm Dr. Emily Carter. Stay informed, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.